What is the McDonald's effect?
Ah! A beautiful day on the streets of one of the most prestigious and famous cities in the world, New York. Take a walk with me and let's see all the new sights, experience all the new smells, sounds, and tastes. Let's eat at the Rainbow Room. This is one of the fanciest restaurants there is. Everything on the menu looks pretty good. I'll have the Parmesan profiteroles with herbed goat cheese. They are a delicious cream puffed éclair lightly toasted with fine oil and garnished with sweet dill. We would never question if this meal is healthy or not. It's a prestigious, fancy restaurant, unlike McDonald's. Yet compare the nutrition information of these profiteroles to McDonald's fries. In a side-by-side comparison, profiteroles measure up to have more fat, sugar, and sodium than McDonald's fries. In any case, this restaurant is very nice. They will make you almost anything else you want during the breakfast buffet. You can get a custom-made omelette or a delicious fresh breakfast burrito. However, beware. This burrito has 1950 calories, 128 grams of fat, 910 milligrams of cholesterol, 3,640 milligrams of sodium, 114 g of carbs, and 16 g of sugar. Equivalent to eating 6 Egg McMuffins from McDonald's. Hard to believe that something this fancy could be that high calorie. We are beginning to see the results of the McDonald's effect at play here. The McDonald's effect is a cognitive bias in which consumers are more likely to believe that items which are more rare, more expensive, and/or harder to attain are more valuable in ways which appeal to them, i.e. healthier, taste better, more productive, more beautiful, etc. McDonald's, as one of the most common, well-known, and cheap retailers of food in the world, constantly meets with criticism and much backlash as to their products and procedures. Hence the name, the McDonald's effect. In reality, the price, time of production, and quantity do not actually play a role on quality of food. For example, many consumers are more likely to believe that food from a cheap, common burger restaurant like McDonald's is less healthy compared to an otherwise more expensive, rare restaurant. One common belief caused by the McDonald's effect is that foods which are less commonly eaten, which are harder to find, or which are harder to prepare, are somehow more healthy than more common foods. However, many comparisons between similar substitutions of food show that this is not the case, as in the comparison between McDonald's fries, sweet potato fries, and mashed potatoes above. The McDonald's effect is related to the IKEA effect in the sense that some of the food produced today requires little to no preparation by the individual buyer. Bread can be bought from the store easily in today's world, and a consumer can enjoy it quicker and more easily than if a consumer were to buy and put together all the ingredients oneself. A consumer may conclude that because she is working to produce the bread tastes better, or is healthier. All the ingredients are the same, but the consumer may believe that the additional work they do to produce it makes it better. The phenomenon which involves perceived greater reward for greater effort has been observed in mice, pigeons, and even humans in experimental procedures. In one experiment, mice were given food from 2 different dispensers. One dispenser required 1 tap of a lever to dispense a food pellet, the other dispenser required 20 taps to dispense a food pellet. Surprisingly, the mice preferred to eat from the dispenser which required 20 taps. It was the exact same food pellets, but the mice seemed to have formed a belief that they needed to get their food from a source which seemed more natural, i.e. a food source which requires more work. Organic food is another area where the McDonald's effect plays a role. Organic food is less frequently sold, more expensive, and harder to produce, giving the illusion that it is better. However, modern innovations in the growth and quality of food have undoubtedly done more good than harm. In fact, in this NCBI study, children drinking organic apple juice tested higher for toxins such as patchoulin than children who drank non-organic apple juice. The McDonald's effect can play a role in marketing as well. People are more likely to believe something is valuable just because it is rare. This is the Bugatti Veyron per Sang, only 5 models of it were ever made. It's made with ultralight carbon fiber, making it an extremely expensive but very well-made car. Is there any real reason they could only make 5 of them? If someone was willing to pay for a sixth, I'm sure it would be worth the while, but because rarer items appear more attractive, the car sells better as a limited edition item. The McDonald's effect can apply to everyone in one way or another. Maybe it's those hyped-up Air Jordans that come out in a few weeks, or one of those photos by Thomas Mangelson, or maybe it's the Hope Diamond. The McDonald's effect applies to silver and gold, fast cars, fancy clothes, all that jazz. It mostly applies to food, however, because it's the one thing that our brains are really programmed for. Our brains did not evolve to form belief systems about certain types of cameras, books, or sunglasses, but they did evolve belief systems about food. It is natural human instinct to ignore food if it's too easy. Mammalian ancestors who evolved certain beliefs about food probably had a significant advantage. They avoided poisonous berries, frogs, bugs, rotten food, and other things that just didn't feel right. The cavemen have passed on their genes to us today, creating the same instinct in us now. In essence, the belief is that some foods are good, some are bad. The only thing that's different today is how much great food can be produced, and how it can be made so cheap. We take for granted how high-tech phones, satellites, and cars are. It's incredible how you can have a conversation with someone 300 miles away in just a few minutes. Communication is extremely high-tech in today's world, and sometimes, we forget how high-tech food is as well. Food is an extremely advanced technology that most people don't even think about when that soft, blueberry chocolate bar melts in their mouth. Every oil, every emulsifier, and every single molecule added to that chocolate bar was specifically chosen and engineered to make it so that its physical melting point is actually at the temperature your mouth is at. It took thousands of hours to perfect that chocolate bar, crafted by skilled chemists and chemical engineers, and they made sure that every natural plant toxin was cooked out. That is the reality of food technology in our world today. Food is still healthy, even though it's cheap, convenient, and mass-produced. It doesn't matter if the food is prepared by human hands or by a machine, it won't change the actual content of the food. It is commonplace to go against the norm. Billion-dollar industries are very prone to the formation of conspiracy theories and of course will receive widespread, public complaints. No one does anything perfectly. The bottom line is that even if you're not eating at the fanciest restaurant in the world this holiday season, you don't have to feel bad. You may like to think that the Rainbow Room uses better eggs than McDonald's does, or that their sunchoke velouté is one of a kind, but honestly, it all just comes from one giant chicken farm held to appropriate and well-planned legal standards. Every food you buy has been optimized for your personal enjoyment, and the technology is growing. It's only going to get better from here. The McDonald's effect is a term used to describe various phenomena, so its meaning is derived from context. Examples. A specific example in which observed returns did not align with the given risk of the investment is the McDonald's effect. Data sets within the second half of the 20th century pertaining to the fast food chain McDonald's had abnormally large returns relative to risk. Investors were consistently surprised at the earnings reported by McDonald's, and those earnings resulted in stock price appreciation above the expected level of returns. McDonald's was a relatively new company when the earnings surprises were occurring, but there is evidence that mature companies can also have unusually large returns relative to risk. Such anomalies can also be observed in index returns, such as the 20% run-up of annual returns in the Japanese stock market from 1980 to 1990. While wandering through the space of the local McDonald's, a 3-story building within a densely populated urban region, I noticed that the place was packed with students studying, young people talking, and couples coupling. My host said that in a crowded city, McDonald's was a good site for study and socializing, and the locals were taking advantage of this. Obviously, the social purposes and functions were quite different in Taiwan than in the US. Which neither encouraged, nor in some cases did they even allow, hanging out and using the site as a study den, or makeout pit. The point is that McDonald's, or any global artifact, has very different meanings and functions in different regions and parts of the world, and a concrete analysis should interrogate local conditions in which consumers provide their own narratives of their site-specific and particular experiences to capture the variety and diversity of meanings of the McDonald's effect. This turn to immanence helps explain the chapter that immediately follows, The Breath of God and the Marketgeist, which links Pentecost with the market mentality, and sees the struggle between particularity and uniformity as the basic conflict in Christian evangelization as well as the market's push to homogenization and destruction of local cultures, the McDonald's effect.
Please leave your story in the comments. I would love to make a video on them in the future also. Don't forget to like and subscribe to you never miss a video.